And oh yeah, the kicker. This is the one that Final Fantasy VII for $149.99. $150 for Final Fantasy VII, a game that sold fucking millions of copies. I think it was that was like the top selling game for PlayStation. You could get it anywhere. And maybe this is because this isn't the Player's Choice one, or this is like the original one. But even the original one, how many freaking copies did they print of that? You know? I'm sure if you were to do like a test with your friends and you called up 20 of your friends or emailed them or whatever and said, hey, do you have a copy of Final Fantasy VII, the original one for PlayStation? I'm sure you could find like either if one of your friends has it or one of your friends has it, assuming your friends are into video games and had a PlayStation when they came out. Yeah, Final Fantasy VII for $150. I don't even think I'm pretty sure this one's open. I don't even think this is like factory sealed or whatever. So anyways, that's completely that's ludicrous. Oh yeah, and then Tetris Worlds to the left of it for $129.99. So there you have it. Now, this isn't just this one store in particular. This has been an epidemic that's been happening for a very long time. These video game stores will take the title like flagship games for systems and they'll just jack up the prices on them. But they'll have like say like a Clash of Demon Head. I don't know if this was like a rare game or not, but definitely a little more obscure than say The Legend of Zelda. But you know, I'll see Clash of Demon Head for like really cheap at the collector's video game stores, but they'll price like the Zeldas for like super high. But you're gonna have more of a chance finding the Zelda game that they made millions of dollars, or not millions, well they did make millions of dollars, but like hundreds of thousands of copies of, as opposed to this other game that was like third party that wasn't as much of a blockbuster. So a friend and I had this conversation a long time ago because we both noticed this trend, and it seems like they're creating this artificial scarcity to jack up the prices on these games, and it's complete bullshit because I love video games and I love buying them. Like, you know, everyone downloads games and plays ROMs or whatever, but I like buying games. I like collecting them. It's cool to have around, and no matter how good the emulation is, it's something about playing it on the system. And it's not even just having the controller plugged into your computer and it's like, oh, it's this. No, for me personally, like, I'd rather play a Sega Genesis on a TV if I have the chance. Golden Axe, Sega Genesis TV, excellent. That's great. That's fun for me. So yeah, it's really discouraging that these video game stores are doing that, because it's creating an artificial scarcity on games that like shouldn't be that price. So anyways, I shouldn't whine about it, because if I'm smart enough, I should just go on eBay if I want to grab a game, and I'll probably grab it for cheaper. But I just feel that this trend is kind of catching on, and when I, want to show my kids some classic games, I'm going to have to fork out like freaking $1,000 for an Atari 2600, even though there's like a million of them. This isn't like a Mickey Mantle autograph card that, there's only a few of them or whatever, It's just the fact that this artificial scarcity, it's not scarce. It's kind of like De Beers, like, hoarding all the diamonds. So then there's a scarcity on diamonds or whatever. Like, I don't want to get into this political connotation of my videos, but you get what I'm trying to say here. Final Fantasy VII for $149.99 is completely ridiculous, and I would hate for some a kid who's just trying to rediscover old games to have to pay $149.99 and get suckered to spend that much money on it. It's in defense of the video game stores, independent video game chains. Probably struggle against like the GameStops and the EB Games and the whatever, the Best Buys, the Walmarts, and all these stores. I'm pretty sure it's tough to be an independent store, a video game store. That's probably where they make money off of a casual gamer who buys the Zelda for $59.99 and plays it, and and doesn't know the difference, and that's great. Like, why not? Like, I guess that's cool. So that's the only reasoning I could find behind this, because otherwise, I mean, that's almost insulting to their clientele, like someone who would know, who was born and bought Final Fantasy VII and was, not born and then they came out like, well, give me Final Fantasy, but you know what I mean? Like, they were around when PlayStation was out and like Final Fantasy VII was out, and they could buy it in the store for $50, and they have this knowledge. But at the same time, in defense of the gamer, it seems like if we don't kind of stop this now, we're going to have like absurd prices for our used video games. It promotes the piracy. If you think about like classic books, like I don't know, let's just okay, like Shakespeare, okay? We'll take Romeo and Juliet. Like, imagine if you couldn't go to like Barnes and Noble and buy Romeo and Juliet for $9.99. You imagine if you had to spend $150 for freaking Romeo and Juliet? That's ridiculous. First of all, the new blood, the new generation wouldn't be able to experience these classics and enjoy them and discover this, literary work, or in this case in video games, this work of art, and it's literary art because of the programming. Programming is syntax. Sorry, like if you don't agree, like, go learn assembler and try to make a dot move across the screen. It's fucking hard. It's nearly impossible. So first, you don't get to discover those game makers. You don't get to discover the art of it. You don't get to discover the artwork, beautiful artwork, and plus the experience. We experience ourselves through artwork. Artists experience themselves through their own creation. So when you're playing Final Fantasy VII and you're crying because Ares gets stabbed, or crying maybe is a little extreme, but you're like, oh wow, this happened. Like, I'm evoking emotions in myself. That's an experience, and video games are an experience, like a classic novel. Anyways, back on topic. It promotes piracy. Like, imagine if every copy of Final Fantasy VII was $149.99. That's maybe like 1/5 of like a normal person's paycheck. Not even that. Like, what, like $700, $800 is a person's paycheck? 600? Like, come on, man. I'll turn to the pirate site. Okay, that sucks. Like, I might as well just buy it off of or download it off of a torrent, I guess, because it's too much money, man. This is something that we're promoting, this artificial scarcity, and if we keep going along with it in the future, there's going to be more piracy. So video game companies, I think that's what they've been doing. Like, they've been trying to re-release their games on these Xbox Live venues and stuff like that at a reasonable price. I don't mind spending $4.99 on a game. I really don't. Like, Street Fighter 2 Remix, what was it, $11.99? Like, that's awesome. Man, I'll buy that like 4 times. That's not bad. That's not a bad price. It doesn't insult my intelligence. It's a good price. They get paid. I get my game. Everything's hunky dory. But when you're taking stuff that isn't scarcity and you're promoting this this culture of taking these classics that are an abundance and then charging them for too much. It just, I don't know. I think it's not a good direction for video games in general. So if you're a shop owner and you think, well, I got to make money, I got kids, that's, I don't disagree with you. Hey, like, I understand you need to make money. It's a business, you don't open up a store to give out free games, right? In the same light, I think maybe having the games that are really scarce, like maybe, but then again, like if you actually started pricing scarce games for like a lot of money, I capitalize on the fact that like some of these Japanese import shooters, sometimes the game store only charge them like $49.99 for Dreamcast. You get like under defeat Japanese import, like for, if you give for like $39.99, like, I mean, you weigh that up against like Final Fantasy VII for $149. I don't know. I guess I'm just being rhetorical on this. Like, why are you selling this game for $149 and why are you selling like these other games for cheap? Works out for me because, I know where to get Final Fantasy for cheaper. I want to get the import game for, I don't know. Anyways, so this is just my my kind of, I don't want to say the word rant, but, well, I guess I just said it, but like word bumbling on this whole thing. And I'm sure people can relate to this, walking into some shops and seeing the games for absurd prices. Like Dragon Warrior 1 for $100, or like, that's been opened and rewrapped like in the back of the store. So anyways, yeah, so that's it. I still support used games. I love going into game shops and finding like cool finds and stuff like that. I love going on eBay. I love supporting the used game market. It's great. It's cool. I love having my used games and I love playing them and I love video games. So anyways, I just thought I'd share you this debauchery of overpriced games like Mega Man 4 and the Final Fantasy. So anyways, over and out. Thank you for watching, and feel free to add to this insight or share your stories. Have a good day. Goodbye.